Fallout Season 2 is going to be pretty similar to Fallout New Vegas. At the end of Season 1, Lucy's dad flies over to Vegas, so now, right from the start of Season 2, Lucy the Ghoul and Dogmeat are following Lucy's dad here. And this journey is even going to feature some of the iconic in-game locations from New Vegas, and some of these locations even got some changes. In this video, I want to bring you up to date on everything we know about Fallout Season 2 so far. For this, I broke down the recent trailers, but I'm also combining that with a ton more information thanks to the mountain of leaks coming out around Season 2. We've been getting these leaks since last year, and I even visited the Vegas set in person earlier this year as filming was going on. One exciting aspect of Fallout Season 2 was even after the trailers and leaks, we don't know a ton about where the story is going here. Physically, of course, we know it's going to Vegas. Lucy is going to Vegas to follow her dad. He fled here at the end of last season after being captured by Moldaver to help establish cold fusion, which I suspect will be a pretty important plot point in Season 2. Cold fusion is a source of near unlimited power that you can establish at or near room temperature. That's a huge deal. It's relatively easy to use power and a ton of power. We can see after cold fusion is a success, it powers the surrounding city, the Boneyard, almost instantly. At the end of Season 1, it seems like the Brotherhood of Steel are just left with cold fusion, but you have to imagine other factions will be after this in Season 2. After being freed, Hank directly flies to the Vegas Strip for something or someone. Maybe this big Vault-Tec HQ looking building that we'll talk about later in this video, or maybe House is actually alive and a source of unlimited localized power seems just like what the Strip needs right now. So Lucy is really just following her dad, but the Ghoul is also headed to Vegas, likely to find House or answers around his family. The Ghoul's family is seemingly still alive. We didn't actually see them after the bombs dropped in Season 1.
You want to know why the world ended? It started here, with one man.
Here the Ghoul is almost certainly talking about Mr. House, who will seemingly be a larger character in Season 2. He's prominently featured in the trailer and was even recast for the season. The thing is, we don't know how often House will appear. The Vegas Strip will appear during at least 3 distinct timelines here. We've seen it pre-war, which of course is the glamorous version with all of the lights on, but we've also seen it during some New Vegas specific flashbacks, and even later. We could see the Strip in its destroyed version, which seems to be the most updated timeline for the TV show. So we're definitely going to see more pre-war House, but what about during the Vegas timeline, or even during the show timeline? And all of this really matters. House only survives certain endings in Fallout New Vegas, so if he starts appearing during the Fallout TV show during the current timeline, that means House survives Fallout New Vegas, and people are going to care about that. I'll talk more about what we know about each timeline a bit later in this video, but as of right now, we've only seen House during the pre-war segments. We don't actually know if he will appear as his post-war self here, but if you do like the various Fallout timelines, do you want them on your wall? Well, with Displates, you can have all of the Fallout games and even the Fallout TV show proudly presented on your wall. Displates are high-quality metal posters that you can easily hang or rearrange. They have designs for all of your favorite franchises, including Fallout, with even some TV-specific Displates. And if you use my affiliate link down below, you can get yourself a nice discount and I'll even get a kickback. So this journey to Vegas is really the kicking off point for Season 2, and it seems like Lucy the Ghoul and Dogmeat, who will now be joining them for this adventure, will hit many familiar Vegas locations on their way to the Strip, closely mirroring what we do in the games. Outside of the Strip itself, the most iconic location we've seen is Novac. It was heavily featured in both the trailer and has had several leaks around it now, including a partial recreation of Dinky, which also got a prominent feature in the trailer. The trailer honestly doesn't reveal a ton about Novac. We see some combat and Lucy providing overwatch from Dinky, just like Boone does in-game, and a ton of really cool explosive action against who is very likely to be the Great Khans. From some of the past set photo leaks, we could see Great Khan graffiti around the Novac filming set, making me think that in the process of going to Vegas, this trio ends up here and has some exchange with the Great Khans. And that actually does make quite a bit of sense. The Great Khans stayed in Novac on their way to ambush the courier in New Vegas. This faction was persecuted by the NCR, but now that we see the NCR has seemingly left Vegas, at least largely, the Khans can expand to places like Novac. Manny Vargas in Novac was even a former Great Khan. This faction's known for their chem production and trafficking in-game, so perhaps we could see some kind of new exchanges around the Ghoul's special ghoul juice and trying to get more of it from the Khans. and potential cameos could happen here. It's been 15 years since the events of New Vegas, and we know that at least some characters will show up again. As of course, we could see Victor in the Season 2 trailer located in some room with the ghoul. And honestly, this quick scene does say a ton about Season 2. Many are speculating that this is filmed in Doc Mitchell's house in Goodsprings. Some of the shelves and the general layout does look pretty similar. And of course, Victor literally brings us to this house after we get shot in the intro to New Vegas. But Victor being here is potentially a really big indication of something. Assuming this is the same Victor that we could see in New Vegas, this character only survives the ending of New Vegas if you also save House, implying that House could also be alive at the time of the Fallout TV show. In the past, the showrunners of Fallout mentioned how the one ask from Todd Howard was not to confirm a canon ending to the games, so Victor being alive would narrow things down to just a few endings because House has to also survive then, seemingly. But the broader lore implications aside, what could this all mean? An obvious indication is Victor is still working for House and simply spying on the ghoul. That was Victor's role in New Vegas. He was spying on us as the courier. So maybe it's just the same playbook. I think a lot of people would enjoy this reference and plotline. One of the more casual stops we've seen is a Starlight drive-in with Dogmeat Lucy and the ghoul. This seemingly being somewhat of a retcon. New Vegas featured the Mojave drive-in, but Fallout 4 of course introduced Starlight drive-in. This popping up in Vegas does confirm that at least for Season 2, they'll largely be maintaining that Fallout 4 aesthetic even despite moving closer towards Vegas. Eventually though, the trio does make it to Vegas, but as of right now, we really have no clue how long that's going to take. The Vegas set was highly visible, so we've had tons of leaks around it, but it may take several episodes to actually get here. And as such, I would control your expectations. For Season 2, we're moving to episodic releases of the Fallout TV show. That might mean it'll be several weeks of waiting before you actually get to see Vegas in all its glory. But once we get to the strip, we should be seeing a lot of it, as it not only appears during 3 distinct timelines, but we're also going to be getting Freeside. We've seen Freeside a few times now. It's one of the few promotional photos shared around Season 2. Things here look very active and crowded, even despite the seeming fall of Vegas that we saw in Season 1. But something you'll start to notice that comes up a lot with some of these things around Season 2 is we don't know when this is. This might end up just being a Freeside flashback. Although, at the very least, we also know Freeside will appear during the show timeline. This is the Atomic Wrangler, a location we also have in-game during New Vegas. And of course, the ghoul is jumping out of some window and perhaps fighting the Kings. The Kings are probably these ghoul characters that we could see in the trailer getting in a fight with our protagonists. A leak posted in March of this year described being near the set while filming was going on and spotting the Kings as ghouls. Unfortunately, the Reddit mods removed this leak almost immediately, but the leaker DM'd it to me. But it seems like it was accurate. And the state of Vegas is a bit unclear here. We could see ghoulified kings that are seemingly living just outside of Vegas in Freeside in these newly spotted camper vans. These really aren't a thing in game, but 15 years have gone by. It almost seems like Vegas had fallen and these campers then moved in right outside the gates. But when it comes to the strip itself, we of course are getting multiple timelines. A healthy amount of Season 2 appears to be pre-war Vegas. In the recent teaser, we could even see that Cooper Howard's pre-war storyline will be getting a big expansion in Season 2, as Cooper Howard will seemingly be hired by House. And that makes sense. Cooper Howard was super popular in Season 1, not only with fans of the TV show, but also with Vault-Tec as he started advertising for that company. And it seems like the work with House might be some kind of expansion on that Vault-Tec advertising and an outlet for us as viewers to see the rise of Mr. House. And with Cooper Howard's journey to Vegas, it seems like we will get more pre-war locations as well. Some of the leaked set photos were seemingly of a pre-war Camp McCarran, or really then just McCarran Airport. There are a ton of plane props from interior set photos and even some advertising for the surrounding strip, but also a real-world TWA sign, which is really curious. TWA is a real thing. This was a real-life airline that's now out of business, but does have an immense legacy from the golden age of aviation. TWA even has a themed hotel at JFK Airport. Maybe they ended up filming some scenes here. And this could have a pretty interesting tie-in. TWA was partly owned by Howard Hughes, who largely acts as the inspiration for Mr. House. Of course, Howard Hughes was a real person. But either way, after making his way through McCarran Airport, it seems like Cooper Howard does arrive in the pre-war strip, and we should see a lot here. All the major casinos had physical entrances and signs built out for this set, including the Ultra Lux, Lucky 38, the Tops, and even the Gamora. The Gamora was also built out of an old theater though, and does have a full physical interior, perhaps suggesting that we'll get some more interior shots of the Gamora. And there are even some new Egyptian-style statues outside, which is a notable change from the game. This strip set was in West Hollywood, so tons of filming was spotted with the lights on and often during nighttime. So I'd expect plenty of night scenes of the strip pre-war. From some other leaked videos that I've been asked not to share, there is some pre-war party that will occur on the strip. It does include characters that we didn't even know were around pre-war. And in some photos, we could see the Lucky 38 sign read, "Welcome to the American Economic Forum, brought to you by Robco." Robco was of course owned by Mr. House. So this might be a fun pre-war party that we see Cooper Howard at in the trailer. But again, it's going to show more of House building up his empire before the bombs dropped. And beyond what we see explicitly in this trailer, we really don't know much about what will actually happen during these strip scenes, or even how many pre-war scenes there will be. This set was in its pre-war configuration for a couple of weeks though, so it seems like there'll be a decent amount of content here. But then something interesting happened to this set. The clean pre-war signs were aged up. A weathering was applied to tons of the buildings at the strip, and many signs were changed to say something different now, with some like the Lucky 38 even matching their in-game counterparts, suggesting that this would be a Fallout New Vegas timed flashback, likely involving House or other major characters doing things at the strip. The Fallout TV show takes place 15 years after this version, and we see quite a bit of that in the trailer. But yeah, at least based off these specific leaks, it seems like there's a decent chance we get some New Vegas specific flashbacks, which is pretty exciting. I do wonder what we'll see then, but eventually our protagonist will make it there as well. We can see several instances of this in the new teaser trailer, and this is seemingly where the true fate of Vegas will really start to set in. The best scene set is this strip entrance. It almost seems like a general filming area with several things. We have the iconic Vegas sign, but also the strip entrance itself, as well as these camper vans all located here. We can see the welcome to the strip entrance will be green screened, likely with some epic walk-up shot from the protagonist in the show, but things will be destroyed here, as we can also see a broken Securitron propped up against the entrance. We saw in the ending credits to Season 1 that the strip was destroyed. Some combination of Deathclaws, the NCR, and Securitron seem to have been present for that final battle. But we don't know exactly what happened here, because even as we return to this North Hollywood set, destruction does occur. A couple of weeks after the set was aged and weathered, it was altered again for a more overt destroyed set, clearly after some kind of Deathclaw attack, as many of the casinos had Deathclaw marks present on them now, or even just other pieces of general destruction. This all being much more similar to how the strip appears in the Season 1 credits, and likely the current timeline for the strip, because yeah, I think things are pretty destroyed here now. But not completely, as some kind of fight will happen here. A notice is placed on the set for a dog handler, as well as a 30-foot explosion, suggesting that Dogmeat and likely the Ghoul and Lucy are going to fight and might set off a mini nuke at some point. You have to imagine this will be a Deathclaw. It could even be part of the scene we get to start seeing in the trailer. But separately, a Deathclaw killer NCR power armor, as well as a full-on animatronic Deathclaw were also seen on set during some of this filming. So the Vegas strip set will pop up quite a bit in Season 2 of Fallout, but in several very different forms. And all of the leaks and evidence right now points towards the strip still being destroyed by the time of the Fallout TV show. But we will definitely be getting a healthy amount of flashbacks to earlier when it wasn't destroyed. Although at least as of right now, we still don't really know why everyone is going to Vegas, but Vault 21 may actually have some answers here. Vault 21 is interesting because it might have already been retconned for Season 2 of the show. On the Vegas set, it was built with a sign along with other pre-war casinos, but of course, Vault 21 only had its sign built post-war by House. He filled the lower levels with concrete and it was converted into a hotel for the strip. In the trailer panning shots, it's hard to tell if a Vault 21 sign is located anywhere because of course, if we could see it during this time, that means some kind of retcon occurred. It wasn't used as a traditional vault. Maybe this shot is Lucy in Vault 21. This certainly could be a hotel room in a weird way, or maybe there's a large larger retcon, maybe Vault 21 isn't going to be a hotel at all and it's just a gambling themed vault like it was originally intended to be. This dress off to the side even matches the dresses that you could find on NPCs in Vault 21 in-game. But alternatively, maybe this is somehow a part of Vault 21. It seems like Hank goes to what almost looks like a Vault-Tec HQ, which may have been teased already. Following the release of Season 1, in the extra section on Prime Video, we got several Vault-Tec promotional videos hosted by Bud Askins. These were themed as if you were joining Vault-Tec as an employee. It shows off Vault-Tec HQ, the most sophisticated building on the planet, which does look remarkably similar to this new building from the trailer. At one point, as it's panning up to the lights, these look really similar to what we just got in this teaser, as well as we learn that Vault-Tec HQ features an automated LLM to keep things running and even Brother Thomas for communication. That's all remarkably similar to Vault Zero. This is from Fallout Tactics, which is only partially canon now, so some parts of Fallout Tactics are used in the lore, but not all of it, and things in Fallout Tactics aren't automatically accepted as part of the lore. In Tactics, Vault Zero is the location where all of the Vault experiments were overseen. It had cryogenically frozen geniuses from the pre-war United States and even Calculator, the Vault's supercomputer, which was meant to work with those frozen people, as well as some of the stored brains there, to help craft ideal human society after the war. All of that sounds pretty similar to this LLM and really what's being described here in some of these videos. So I wonder if Vault 21 is going to see a retcon. Perhaps Vault-Tec HQ will be secretly added as a section to Vault 21 under Las Vegas. In-game, we know that House floods the lower levels of Vault 21 with concrete. It'd be a retcon, but maybe he was blocking access to this Vault-Tec HQ for whatever reason. It kind of worked pretty well with what House was doing in-game. Either way, Vault-Tec HQ seems like it'll be a core part of Season 2, and it seems the likely reason as to why Hank beelines it to Vegas in the first place. But expanding on the NCR, even beyond their Deathclaw killer power armor, from other leaks we have seen that the NCR will have a greater presence in Season 2. Most of what we've seen is just a gaggle of NCR soldiers doing something, although it's not really clear what. And we could even see what looks like some NCR riot gear here. But it's a bit hard to tell when this is. Some of these could be flashbacks, and even when it comes to the leaks, the NCR have just been pretty sparse overall. As far as I could tell, these are the only images we have of this faction right now. Although speaking about the TV show in general, in a recent interview, Ton Howard did say, and look, if you look at the background, the NCR is a wide-ranging sort of organization and group across not just California, but other places. So the show focuses on this period of time and this group here, and that's what we could say right now, but I don't think you've heard the last of the NCR. So wouldn't be shocked if they pop up a healthy amount in Season 2 and onwards. They might have just not leaked as much due to where some of the filming occurred. Not all of these sets were on full display in the middle of Hollywood. And compared to Fallout New Vegas, it almost feels like the Brotherhood and NCR have traded places, as the Brotherhood of Steel seem to be doing very good now. The Brotherhood of Steel content from the last trailer is really interesting, as it's the first Brotherhood content we've seen at all for Season 2. I don't think there's been a single leak around this faction's story, so hey, maybe the NCR has a lot more and it just hasn't leaked yet. But when it comes to the Brotherhood, we don't really know what is going on here. The Brotherhood got cold fusion at the end of Season 1. That was their predominant goal, but now that they have seemingly limitless power that can be safely produced, it's not really clear what they'll be doing with it, or what they'll be doing in general for Season 2. The most telling scene in this trailer is this airship battle, multiple Pridwins or Casamonans together seemingly fighting one another. Is this a new Brotherhood civil war breaking out, or did somebody else capture an airship and now they're all taking it down? And one of my theories for a Season 2 Brotherhood plotline is ghouls. During another segment of the trailer, we see the scratched power armor, so perhaps Maximus fighting a ghoul. In Season 1, we see Thaddeus get injected with this mysterious serum that led to rapid healing. I think he's turning into a ghoul, and we'll see that much more explored in Season 2, partly explaining the new ghoul juice that the ghoul takes, as well as just this expanded ghoul lore as to how he's seemingly invulnerable at points. But also, the Brotherhood of Steel hates mutants, and this would be a nice outlet to see that hatred on display. And while some others have speculated that Thaddeus is actually turning into a super mutant, I think Fallout 76 just recently confirmed this. Earlier this year, the game got a ghoul update, and even just the trailer for this update quite closely mimics the show. The character dragging their leg just like Thaddeus did, and even this inhaler closely resembles what the Quack Doctor gives Thaddeus in the show, like it was clearly modeled off of what Thaddeus uses. Obviously, this turns you into a ghoul in Fallout 76, so I think Thaddeus is turning into a ghoul in the show. Maybe some kind of ghoul outbreak occurs on one of these airships and the Brotherhood ends up shooting it down. But then there's also this Area 51 base. Yeah, it feels like we just got tidbits from the Brotherhood, but every tidbit felt like it could have massive implications. Does the Brotherhood have unlimited power and potential alien technology? The Zetans have a very long history in Fallout, and lots of fans are wondering if that'll be explored here, as Area 51 is of course where the US government has supposedly stored aliens. The last major faction we've seen content from is the Legion, and while we have seen some via some past set photo leaks, the biggest reveals definitely came from the new trailer. We could see major Legion forces still exist in or around Vegas, and seemingly Lucy will be captured by them at some point. This too seems pretty close to the games, where she is likely being brought to either a new Caesar or some other kind of leader within the Legion. Kaiser dies no matter which ending you pick in Fallout New Vegas, so this exact character shouldn't be around anymore. But it does look like this is going to be the new leader. He is even wearing Leggett Lanius' armor from the game. And a lot of fans are speculating that this new leader is Macaulay Culkin. He was cast in Season 2, and this does pretty closely resemble him. Just like the other factions, we don't really know what is going on with the Legion here. Clearly, they get a hold of Lucy, and we have seen them out in the Wasteland via other set leaks, but that's all we really know right now. And in general, it seems like they have a fairly powerful force overall. We've seen a lot more of the Legion compared to the NCR. And they might also interact with Vault Dwellers. One of the pretty big reveals we got in this trailer that I think a lot of people are overlooking is that we could see dwellers of both Vault 33 and Vault 31 doing some things in Season 2. That's a pretty big deal. Most of the Vault 33 dwellers have never left the vault, so this means they're leaving for the first time ever. But if you recall, Vault 31 had the cryogenically frozen Vault Tech managers, Buds. We've seen Vault 31 jumpsuits out and about in both the trailer and leaked set photos. So this means that these people are being woken up, and presumably they're going to be loyal to Vault-Tec and potentially the Enclave. It's really just a few quick glances at them, and it's hard to gauge exactly what's going on here, but this feels like it could end up being a really big plotline. Some of these leaked Legion set photos seem to have been filmed in a very similar location to these Vault Dwellers, leading many to think that they might interact in some way. Perhaps that's what ultimately leads Lucy to the Legion. Beyond that, there are lots of other things that will pop up in Season 2 for at least a couple of scenes. We're going to be getting a lot more flashback content of Cooper Howard, not only with House, but also with his daughter, and seemingly before the bombs dropped. But also in Anchorage, we heard in Season 1 how Cooper Howard served in Operation Anchorage, and we'll be getting scenes of this in Season 2. This, of course, being one of Fallout 3's DLCs and a major event in the Great War overall. A ton of new creatures and enemies will appear in this season. We, of course, have Deathclaws, but also Rad Scorpions and even Securitrons and Ghouls. So it'll definitely be a busy Season 2 as far as new characters and content, and maybe more. Going into Season 2, we already know that this show is renewed for a Season 3, so I wouldn't be shocked if Season 2 more obviously lays out that framework for where the story will continue. But with that said, that is just about everything we know about Season 2 of the Fallout TV show. If you want more content and even some exclusives, get subscribed because I have a ton more coming. But otherwise, let me know in the comments down below, what are you most excited for?